Welcome to our call. Let's get started. What I want to do here today, guys, is you have been through a lot of information over the last 5 days, and it is a little bit like drinking out of a fire hose. Okay, compensation plans at the best of time can be very, very overwhelming, and especially when there's changes and things like that. You find yourself learning about things that you might have been here 3 years and you haven't paid any attention to, and all of a sudden you're freaking out. Okay, so let me just be very clear on what today's training is. Today's training is not designed to simply repeat the trainings that have already been available for you to watch. That would be a little redundant. Linda Luther and Frank Santoyo did absolutely fantastic jobs, and many of you in Australia and Europe and Asia, you had your regional offices doing trainings, and those trainings have been recorded that go into a deep dive into all sorts of aspects of the ASEA One Entrepreneurial Engine that will be launching January 24th. So for me to repeat all of that would be a little bit redundant when all of those great trainings already exist, okay? You can go to learn.aseaglobal.com/ASEA-1. And if you go there, you're going to get a great overview of ASEA One. There's a link in there. It says Path to One, which then opens up all of the trainings. Okay, so that is your gateway to understand everything that has been talked about, and all the documents and all of the details are there. Learn.aseaglobal.com/ASEA1. So my goal is not to repeat all of that. Instead, what I want to do here is help you zoom out and put all of this into context, okay? And in fact, really what I want to cover here is, what should I really focus on? What is really, really important? You know, Pareto's rule says that 80% of the outcome will actually come from 10% or 20% of the input. I actually believe often that the 90-10 rule is correct. And so I want you to focus on, what should I really, really focus on here? You can't focus on it all. It just becomes overwhelming. So the great Trish Schwenkler, #1 income earner in ASEA, she used to be asked, how does the compensation plan work? And Trish's answer would be, it works great. In fact, I will tell you, working with Trish in the early days, I don't think Trish fully understood the comp plan until she had actually made her first $1 million. Okay, there are a lot of comp plan experts that are broke in network marketing. Okay, I'll say that again. There are a lot of compensation plan experts that are broke in network marketing. Your success here is not for you to get a PhD in the compensation plan. Okay, so I'll say it again. There are many, many success stories, $1 million success stories, that do not understand every single percentage or every single aspect of the compensation plan. Some people are gifted with more mathematical, logical brains, and they can pick it up pretty quickly. Others, more creative left brain types, it's a little bit more tricky to get a handle on it. You're not at a disadvantage, okay? If Trish Schwenkler can make her first $1 million before she understands how the check match works, then it's okay. So can you, okay? So let's just take a deep breath and realize that the comp plan works great. Now, what I want to cover in today's training are these things. First of all, I want to give you a big picture. Some of you have heard me talk about this before, but I believe that repetition is the mother of skill. Sometimes it takes the longest journey is from the brain to the heart, and sometimes we have to keep nudging it along that journey until it finally reaches our heart, where it becomes part of us, where we get it. We understand it, okay? So I want to give you that big picture quickly. I want to talk about the difference of inputs versus outputs, okay? You have no control over the output, you only have control over the inputs. Therefore, that is where we are going to focus. Next, I want to talk about Club One. I want to talk about grandfathering. It's important. Everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? Okay, so it's important you know the next step. What is your next step in the plan? And then I want to get into our promo. And then I want to talk a little bit about mindset. Very, very important. You can have the most incredible opportunity, but if you're not the right person stepping into that opportunity, then you got challenges. And then if we've time, I'll open it up for the dreaded Q&A. And that's where I'm just going to leave you in Jim and Danielle's hands. I'm just going to go, okay? The dreaded Q&A. We'll see how that goes. We may do it, we may not. We'll see. Okay. I've given this analogy quite a few times. Let me explain. Let's take the big picture. Why am I excited about this, okay? I'm excited about this because every network marketing company you can put on a scale, and I use a clock, from 9 o'clock to noon to 3 o'clock. And the 9 o'clock companies are all product. Don't talk about money. Shh. It's all about, don't talk about money. Don't talk about the opportunity, okay? And then you've got the 3 o'clock companies that are all business. It doesn't matter what the product is. You know, we'll market junk. It's all about a personality or a comp plan, and that's where the real dark that's the dark side of network marketing. That's where your schemes and scams live. That's where your Ponzi schemes, your pyramid schemes live, where you're not really bringing anything of any real value to the marketplace. It's just a money game. And they hide under the pretense of being a network marketing company. And I talk about this in my network marketing training. You got to be careful, okay? So you've got these two extremes. And like everything, usually there's a sweet spot in the middle where you've got everything in beautiful balance, okay? You've got your product and your opportunity in balance. I use the analogy of rowing a boat. You've got a left arm and a right arm. And if one arm is a lot stronger than the other, then you're not going to go to your destination as efficiently, as effectively as possible. You're going to be swerving all over the place. So you want to be in balance. And in network marketing, you've got a product arm and you've got an opportunity arm. There's two sides to the coin of ASEA. And you want them to be in balance. So I use this analogy of a 12 o'clock company. Now, truthfully, where has ASEA been over the last 16 years? It's been about 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30. Maybe a few associates have pushed it to 11 o'clock. But for the most part, it's somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock. And that's great, okay? If I had to choose, I'm going to choose the earlier side of noon rather than the later side of noon. Okay, I'd rather play it safe and be on the earlier side of noon. And of course, because we're bringing the most significant product to the marketplace that the network marketing industry has ever seen, this is the most significant product ever brought through network marketing. It's natural that we would be on the early side of noon. But what I'm excited about here, ASEA One, is now this entrepreneurial engine that we're going to launch January 24th, 2026, is giving us an opportunity should we wish to grab onto it. You may want to stay at 10 o'clock, and that's okay. Okay, I had all my surveys ready to go that was going to see who was here. I don't know who's here now because my surveys don't work. But if you want to stay at 10 o'clock, that's okay. Okay, you can do that. We function very, very well. We're knocking on the doors of about 2 billion in sales. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting close. We've done really well as a 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock company. But I'm telling you guys, when you hit that 12 o'clock, you get your opportunity and balance with your product, magic happens. You start rowing the boat in a fast, direct, straight line, and you start achieving your goals much more efficiently than you did before. Okay? And I call this raising the opportunity story up to match the product story. Raising the opportunity story up to match the product story. And I visualize, I'm a very visual person if you don't know me by now. And I visualize climbing a mountain. And imagine the top of that peak is Ambassador Diamond and Presidential Diamond right up there at the very top, okay? There's Trish with her flag waving. She's at the top going like this here. Very, very top of the mountain, okay? Now, she's been up there. We've got to go join her, okay? She's up there by herself for too long. But there's Trish at the top of the mountain, and there's lots of other great leaders up at the top and up in the diamond ranks and everything else. And I want you to imagine climbing this mountain. You've got these ledges. Okay, you've got these ledges, and these are called ranks. And the first ledge is Director 300. And you can get to that ledge and you can you can take a little breather. And you might look around that ledge and kind of go, you know what? I love the view from here. I don't need to go any further. And you know what? That's okay. It's your journey. You decide. And I'm going to talk to some of the leaders here. Guys, don't whip your people to try and achieve what you're trying to achieve. Meet everybody where they are. Sometimes when people become, they get into network marketing, they start building a little bit of a team, they become little mini Hitlers. I mean, like this Jekyll and Hyde kind of comes out of them, you know, the monster Hyde starts to come out and they start like trying to whip their team. Guys, meet people where they are. If somebody arrives at the ledge of Director 300 or the ledge of Director 700 or the ledge of Bronze and they go, I'm really happy with the view here. This is winning for me. One of my questions that I had in my survey was, what does winning look like for you in ASEA? Not everybody wants to be a multimillionaire, guys. Not everybody wants to put the work in and the effort in that's required to become a multimillionaire. Not everybody's willing to pay the price to earn lifestyle residual income in network marketing. It's there, but not everybody's willing to pay the price. And that's okay. There's no judgment. We're not here to change people's eye color, okay? So I visualize these ranks are like these resting places, these ledges where if that's where you'd like to rest, that's okay. But you know what? If you look up and go, I bet the view's even better up there. I want to keep climbing. Now here's where I'm excited. What I believe has been launched today is a very, very clear path to the single most important ledge in this whole climb. And that's the Director 300 ledge. Director 300 is what we would call our core rank. Much of our compensation plan is built around helping people get to that first ledge. And truthfully, over the past, we've just kind of got there by getting our machetes out and slashing our way through the jungle, trying to climb up to that ledge. What corporate have done, this is how I see ASEA One and Club One, is what corporate have done is they have literally created a paved pathway with big old halogen lighting and signposts saying Director 300 this way. Now, what do you think? Do you think if you've got to figure your own way how to get to that ledge and start chopping through the bushes and the growth and there's no real path, do you think you're more likely to get to the D300 ledge? Or do you think if there's a very clear path with very clear signposts and even night lighting, like a ski night resort, okay? Do you think you're more likely to get to D300? Do you think you're more likely to bring an army of people with you to Director 300? And remember, the rest of your journey up to the top of the mountain is basically on how many people can get to Director 300. So you're going to see immediately when I start talking about focus, that's where the focus needs to be. Is getting very, very clear on this path to that first core ledge of D300. You become a black belt in that, you master that. Guys, the rest of the journey can take care of itself. See, how you get to 700 is you actually pull a couple of people up to 300. How you get to bronze is you pull a couple of people up to 700. How do they get to 700? They pull people up to 300. So do you get the analogy? Do you understand how important this path is to that first ledge on the climb? That's really what we're talking about here, okay? Now, there is a third thing, and that is Tyler Norton will often say that when companies will do compensation plan enhancements, it's like they'll squeeze the balloon here so it pops up here. We'll take a little bit off the back end. You know, our leaders are making a little too much, so we're going to take a little bit off our diamond leaders and we're going to pop it up and give it to our 300s and 700s. Or, you know what? Our 300s and 700s are earning too much. We're going to give it to our diamond leaders. And you end up with this like squeezing the balloon. You have to understand what corporate have done is they've untied the balloon, no easy task, and they've blown $8.5 million into it. And so what you're going to see is that there's more money on the front end, there's more money in the middle, which I would call the executive ranks. So the front end, brand new brand partners, directors, director 300, director 700, the new director 1200. And then the middle is your bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and then your end is your diamonds, ambassadors, presidentials, okay? This is why I'm excited. Getting our stories in balance, the product story, the opportunity story in balance, creating this very, very clear, well signpost, well lit path to that core rank of Director 300, and there's more money in it for everybody. Okay, and you're going to see, I'm going to give you one simple example of this, and you're going to see more people making more money faster than ever before with the ASEA One compensation plan. Okay, I want to talk about your journey. And one of the things that I love about that ASEA has done is they've really branded this. They've created, sometimes comp plans, it can just be like this big thing. And what they've done is they've created segments. They've compartmentalized it into these segments. So you've got this ignite phase. And the ignite phase is where you begin. Every single new brand partner begins at this ignite phase. We're igniting our business, okay? Then we're beginning to amplify. So the ignite phase is that first path to Director 300, okay? Then you start to amplify. You start to multiply. You start to experience leverage. You start to experience a business of multiplication, okay? You start to build a team. And now we've got you're helping other people just do what you did, okay? How do you know what to do? Because you just did it. How cool is it to teach something that you've just done? It's much easier to teach something you've just done than to teach something out of just a textbook that you've never done. But guess what? You've just got to Director 300. Now teach other people how to go along that same path, that well-lit path, that signposted path up the mountain. And as they get to Director 300, you enter this amplify stage of your business, which is Director 700 and Director 1200, our new rank, which I love, okay? And then as you continue this progress, you continue helping people along the path of Director 300. You continue going through the amplify phase. You start to hit the mastery phase. This is where the first levels of leadership, the executive ranks, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, more of the compensation plan begins to open up to you to reward your leadership behavior, your team building behavior. And then that leads to legacy, where diamond is the dream. It always has been. 100 years in network marketing, diamond is the dream, okay? And this is where you begin to make this lasting impact in your business. So I want you to, this is the ASEA One compensation plan. It's a beautiful journey that constantly encourages the right business building behavior at wherever you are in your journey. Now, again, I'm a very visual person. I've got visuals for everything, right? I want you to imagine that the ASEA One compensation plan is like a boat, okay? And it's taking you to your promised land. What does winning look like for you in ASEA? What does it look like for you? Is it to just pay for your products? That's okay. How cool is it to basically put a little sweat equity in and get your products paid for every single month? The most powerful health technology on the planet coming to your door and you don't pay a dime for it, really, because your commissions are covering the cost of the product. Guys, that's a huge win. That's a huge win. And if that's what it is for you, hey, we're gonna help you do that. Okay? If that's where you want to get to in the business, that's what winning looks like for you. That's great. Maybe you want to go further than that. You want to pay for you want some part-time income. You know, the average home in America goes into foreclosure because the household is short $500 every single month. It doesn't take a fortune to change a family's life. Maybe it's $500 a month. Maybe it's $1,000 a month. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's full-time income. You want to replace a job. You want to replace it. Maybe it's $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 a month, something like that. Okay? Or maybe you believe you deserve to have it all. I like to say you're a big thinker, you're a big dreamer, and you believe you deserve to have it all. Maybe that's your goal, okay? So I don't know what it is for you, but you've got to figure that out, okay? So I want you to imagine the ASEA One compensation plan is like a boat that is taking you to the promised land. What winning looks like for you. Well, the boat has an engine, and the engine is Club One. Another analogy would be the duck floating. I don't want to say the ASEA One compensation plan's a duck, but you get my analogy here. It's a duck floating along the surface, but underneath you got the little duck feet. They're just paddling like crazy. Club One are the little duck feet paddling like crazy. Okay, so I want you to have this visual that ASEA One is the boat that's taking you to where you want to get to in life, but Club One is the engine that's driving the whole behavior. Now, I want you to think of this in terms of input and output. Club One is the input. Those activities of Club One are the input that create an output in the ASEA One compensation plan. The ASEA One compensation plan is computer code, guys. It's been written. You can't change it. You can't alter it. You can't go in there and change that code. You're going to put something in, it's going to spit out an output. It's going to spit out a commission. Okay? You have no control over that output. You know what you do have control over? The input. The activities, the points, this rhythm of events, these income producing activities that basically create the Club One program. So where should you put pretty much 90% of your focus? Should you be focusing on the outputs that you have no control over? Or should you be focusing on the input that you have total control over? Well, the victim would say outputs and the victor would say inputs. That's the difference between a victim and a victor. The victim focuses on what they have no control over. The victim grabs hold of the sail and says, I can set my own course. What do I have control over? If it's to be, it's up to me. And so again, what I'm showing you here and what you're going to learn, guys, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on ASEA One, Ignite, Amplify, Mastery, and Legacy. What I am going to make sure we're absolutely clear on are the inputs, our Club One, and most important, the 3 jumpstart cycles. So I'm going to just briefly cover this as a broad overview. Again, there's no point me simply repeating what has already been done. And there's great training videos and PDF documents and websites that can dig into all of these things. But I'm just going to touch on some of the highlights. So Ignite, there are about 3 or 4 or 5 things in Ignite. Number 1, customer bonuses. We're now creating 3 tiers of pricing: retail, preferred, and brand partner. Okay, forgive me if I say associate. We're all trying to now learn brand partner. I love brand partner. I think it symbolizes truly who we are. We are so loyal and dedicated to this brand of redox signaling of the ASEA technology, and we partner with the company. I said it on the launch call. There's this beautiful partnership between the field and corporate. And so I love this term, brand partner. So we're creating a 3-tier pricing structure. It's very, very common in the industry today. And you're now earning 20% on the customer orders first time and 12% on subscriptions. The one difference between that and everything else is those percentages are paid on the price of the product. They're not paid on volume. Everything else is paid on volume, but customer bonuses are paid on the sales price. Okay? Another thing about that customer bonus that's very important that I just want to draw attention to is you no longer have to be active in order to earn those customer bonuses. Now, I want to help you think through the implications of that. There's 3 types of companies right now in the industry. There's this whole influencer movement. Okay, so when I started 16 years ago, there was no such thing as an influencer. There was no such thing as social media, Facebook, and TikTok, Instagram. It wasn't there. It didn't exist. Okay, today it's a very, very different world. I mean, the shift in a decade and a half it makes your head spin. Okay, but we're in a new place of social media and influencers. And some companies, there's only 3 ways that you can deal with this shift between network marketing and influencers. What some companies have decided to do is turn their back on the network marketing business model and say, you know what, why do I need to pay these multi-tiered commissions when I can just pay one person who's an influencer? And it's a very, very short-sighted, because influencers, no offense to any influencers on here, but there's no loyalty to a brand. They're only loyal to their own brand. They're loyal to themselves, okay? And so they'll recommend this. I mean, I know one influencer, 1 minute she's selling CBD gummies, and the next minute she's selling barbecue fire pits, okay? There's no loyalty to a brand. And very often companies come to them and say, hey, we'll write you a check to make 20 videos about X, Y, and Z, and they get paid one sale. Okay? And that's how most influencers are trying to make a living. So there's no loyalty. And so the companies that moved away from network marketing to this influencer model, guys, they're in deep trouble. They're going out of business. They're desperately looking for mergers. Okay? It was not a good idea. Okay? There's power in the network marketing movement. There's power in linking with your brand partners and staying loyal to your brand partners. And I want you to understand that's what Tyler Norton and the Norton family, the owners of ASEA, Jerem Webb, what they have done, they're leaning into, they're doubling down on the network marketing business model. Okay? But the first is you turn your back on network marketing and you think that influencers are a quick, easy, cheap ride to success. Doesn't work. And they're finding out the hard way. Number two, let's set up two separate divisions. Let's keep our network marketing division, but literally let's set up a separate network marketing or a separate division of the company just for influencers. Totally different compensation structure, everything else. Well, now you've got these two in competition with each other. That's not a very happy environment. You've got your network marketers in competition with your network marketers, or your network marketers in competition with your influencers. That's not working very well either, guys. Those companies are figuring out they've made the wrong decision. The third choice is the one that we made. And that said, how can we make our compensation plan so user-friendly to the influencers that we can integrate them into our network marketing business model and they don't even necessarily even know it? And that's what we've done, guys. And there's two big things. Number one, we've removed the active qualification to earn commissions. So you could go to an influencer and, a lot of times influencers go, you mean I've got to spend money before I can make money? No, not anymore. You don't have to spend a dime. It's $40 to become an associate. That's it. And then you can basically recommend whatever you want and you don't have to be active to earn those commissions. Now, I believe we will attract so many influencers because number one, we're not just paying one-time sale, we're paying ongoing residual commissions. They're not used to that. Number two, they have the ability to go build their own team of influencers and earn overrides, team commissions, as they progress through the compensation plan. Most companies are not offering that to influencers. Also, the simplicity of now we're just paying the percentages on sales amount. They don't have to understand PV and PGV and sales volume and all of that stuff. So I want you to understand a little deeper the importance of that one slide I've just put up. No need to be active, and percentages and commissions being paid on sales amount, not actual PV. Guys, that can have multi-million dollar impact in volume in the business. Okay, brand partner earned 20% on our brand partners enrollment. That hasn't changed. The Director 300 bonus, this is important. We'll hit on it a little bit later. But we've got rid of our director bonus. It was a $50 director bonus you had to get in 14 days. It was an interesting bonus, but it challenges people's product. By the time it arrived, they want to get on it. It was a tough one for people to get. Now we've made that bonus 6 times bigger and we've given you 90 days to get it. Okay, and that's a really, really important improvement. Team commissions, again, I'm not going to go deep into this, but we have now allowed you to earn 5% on basically the volume that you're bringing to the table. And in the early days, up to bronze, you don't really have to be worried about left leg and right leg balance. Maybe I'm giving you too much detail here, but I want you to think there's 2 major types of compensation plans out there. There's a unilevel compensation plan. That's where I sponsor A, level 1, A sponsors B, level 2, B sponsors C, level 3. Okay? And that's a basic unilevel compensation plan. Then there's the binary compensation plan where I'm building 2 teams. I'm building a left team and a right team. Now, there is no such thing as a perfect compensation plan. There's pluses and minuses to both compensation plans. A unilevel compensation plan is really user-friendly when you're first getting started, because you're guaranteed a basic payout on the volume that you're bringing to the table. And it's usually around, it can be 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%, 7%, something like that on those first few levels. The challenge with the unilevel is it'll cut off and then you don't get paid in the depth in your business. Now, the beautiful thing about a binary is you can get paid infinite depth in your business, way beyond what a unilevel could ever pay. But in the early days, you've kind of got this balancing act where you might find a superstar on one leg and then you're trying to pay catch up and you're paid on your lesser leg. And certainly in the early days, when you're trying to get your product paid for and get into a little bit of extra part-time income, prove that this works, that imbalance can be that's when it's most frustrating, is right at the beginning of your business. And so what the company said is, hey, you know what? We're going to get rid of that frustration. And if you've got a little imbalance going on at the beginning of your business, guess what? Don't worry. We're going to guarantee you a 5% override. We're basically going to guarantee you a 5% unilevel payout up to 3,000 in personal group volume, which is 5% on 3,000 is 150 a month. That's $600 a month in team commissions. Sorry, 150 a week, 600 a month in team commissions. Guaranteed 5% payout on the volume you're bringing to your table. So do you see what we've done here? Putting a unilevel alternative, a unilevel safety net, if you will, at the beginning of the compensation plan when it's most frustrating with your left and right leg, but we haven't lost any of the depth and potential building and team building and all the beautiful things that we have in the binary. So we truly do have a hybrid best of both worlds now. Okay, so again, I'm not going to get into the details of how it all works. I want you to zoom out and understand the context as to why it was put into place and what you have your hands on now when you're going out into the marketplace talking about the opportunity story. Okay, so those four things, that's the ignite part of the compensation plan. Okay, and as you're going to see when I get into what you really need to focus on, that's really the only part of ASEA One that I feel you should know and understand. Because the rest will happen by itself. Remember, it's all inputs. The entrepreneur, I'll just talk about this briefly. Before it used to start at bronze. We've brought that down now to Director 1200, this new beautiful rank, and Director 700. That means we're allowing people to access more of the compensation plan earlier than ever before. Okay? We realized that network marketing used to be the only gig economy. It used to be the gig economy. But today there's all sorts of other ways that people can make money. We've got to make sure we're super competitive against the Uber drivers or the DoorDash delivery or whatever it is. And we want to open up more compensation to more people faster than ever before in their journey in ASEA. So we created the new rank of 1200, Director 1200. We've opened up this executive momentum pool at Director 700. It used to be bronze. Okay, that's a big, big leap, guys. And here's another thing I hope you haven't missed. In the old plan, when you opened up the executive momentum pool, the clock started ticking. So I'm going to take bronze as an example. You had 12 bites of the cherry. You had 12 times you could earn in the bronze executive momentum pool. Okay? And if you maybe opened up that pool before you were really ready to earn those, before you were maybe a solid bronze in a weekly compensation plan, you're going to have some fluctuation. It's natural. Okay, you're going to have good weeks and not so good weeks. There's more fluctuation in a weekly compensation plan than you might see in a monthly. In a month, it kind of evens it's all out. But in a week, you've got good weeks and bad weeks. So maybe you opened up the bronze pool and you weren't really ready for it. You just had a couple of good weeks back to back. But now the clock started and the clock's ticking. And if you're not hitting bronze, you're not earning those 12 bites of the cherry. Maybe you're only getting 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 bites of the cherry. Okay? What we've done now is we've basically given you twice as long to qualify. So at bronze, you're getting 24 weeks to get 12 bites of the cherry. Let me put it like this. You can fail 50% of the time and still get 100% of your payout. You with me? You can fail 50% of the time hitting your rank in the new entrepreneur pool and still get 100% of the payout that you deserve. Okay, so not only have we brought it down, but we've made it much, much more user-friendly. Okay, checkmatch. Again, there's investment. Tyler's opened up the balloon, blowing $8.5 million into that. And part of that is going to solidify that wealth portion of the compensation plan. That is actually the one part of the compensation plan where there is no cap, there is no limits. Okay? And so it's important that that is bolstered and solidified for long-term legacy growth. And then diamond pool. Again, only relevant to a few people here on the call, but the diamond pool, they've basically solidified that and basically taking care of our legacy leaders. There's various things that are in there. Again, I'm not going to get into it because it only affects a very, very small handful of people on this call right now. So, but there's money invested in all of these 7 areas, okay? Not one area suffers because another area gains. It's a win right across the board. But I wanted to give you some of the context as behind these, especially in the Ignite phase. Okay, let's turn to Club 1 and the Jumpstart cycles. These are the inputs to your business. Remember, I want you to think of the ASEA One compensation plan like a computer program. In fact, that's all it is. It's a computer program that's basically spitting out commissions based on activity that's inputted. And you only have control over the input. Okay? The boat can only take you to the promised line if the engine is spinning, if the engine is driving, if the engine is roaring. The engine is Club 1. And that's where we really need to be putting most of our focus. Now, it's interesting. My friend Lizaimi Lahin and his beautiful wife Iza, in Malaysia, they're amazing triple diamond leaders in Malaysia. Been with us for 5 years in ASEA. Really tough 5 years. It was just during COVID and post-COVID, they've built their business and they became our latest $1 million Earners Club members. I just saw some beautiful posts on Facebook. Big celebration of Lizaimi and Iza being welcomed into the $1 million Club here. 5 years working the business in Malaysia and also Indonesia. And when Lizaimi was shown some of this along with other diamonds in Asia, he called me up and he said, Alan, ASEA One is great, but the magic is Club 1. And I said, Lizaimi, you get it. You get it. And I want to share with you, again, I'm trying to share with you what Lizaimi saw. He saw it as the engine. He saw it as the input. He saw it as the one thing he can have control over and he can teach his team to have control over. Everything else will take care of itself, okay? So the Club 1 is built around 3 activities. Number 1, you share. You prospect, you invite people, you contact and invite them to learn about ASEA. You share a tool to tell the story. You follow up and you collect a decision. That's what we mean by share. It's what we teach. And if you enroll a new brand partner with at least 100 PV order, you get 4 points. A customer, you get 3 points. A preferred customer, 3 points. Subscription customer, 3 points, I should say. A one-time retail order, 2 points. And if they want to upgrade from being a preferred customer to an associate, you get 1 point. Okay, so you got 3 points enrolling them as a PC, and then you get 1 point more, bring you up to 4 points total if they become a brand partner. So you got to be clear on these points. Okay, these are your inputs. Then you get points as you help people achieve their own Club 1. Okay, and we call these mentor points. Okay, if you mentor someone, so let's say I sponsor Danielle, and I help Danielle, I show her, I teach her how to prospect, I show her what the trainings are, I get her connected with the team, I'm a responsible sponsor, I'm there to answer questions, maybe do 3-way calls as she's getting her business started, and she's, as she earns her first Club 1, I'm going to get 5 points as her sponsor for mentoring her through her first Club 1. If she gets a second Club 1, I get 3 points. If she gets a third Club 1, then I'm going to get another 3 points. And I'll get into this, it'll all come together in a second. The third way you can earn points is to build. And that is basically helping them get to that first ledge up the mountain, helping them along that path to get to the D300. And earn the D300 for the very first time. If Danielle becomes a D300, I get 8 points for helping her get to that first ledge. And if she can then qualify for the D300 bonus, okay, which requires hitting D300 3 times in a 4-week period, guess what? I'm getting another 7 points. It's really cool, okay? And so let's go through the numbers here. So these are the inputs into the engine. This is the engine. These are the inputs into the ASEA One compensation plan that ultimately is going to spit out the commissions and take you to where you want to get to, okay? So Club 1, you've got to hit 8 points in a 4-week cycle. Now these are set 4 weeks cycles. The first cycle is going to start January 24th, okay? And so you can figure out the 4 weeks, that'll be the cycle 1. Then the next 4 weeks is cycle 2. So it's not based on when you come into the business. There are set cycles in the calendar set by the company, and the first one, it will begin January 24th. So you could literally, if you wanted to get your calendar out, you could work out when the 10th cycle is. 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks. Okay, so these are set cycles. Now this to me is very exciting. As a global entrepreneur, I'm super excited about this because for the first time in ASEA history, we are all marching to the same beat, the same cycle. Can you imagine the power of that? Where everybody's focused on these activities of sharing, of mentoring, of building, and we're all on the same cycles, the same 4-week cycle. There's tremendous power in that. There's tremendous synergy. There's tremendous unity. There's Club 1 Plus. Okay, so you may be familiar with Fast Forward and Fast Forward Plus. There's Club 1 Plus. This is where you can achieve 15 points in a 4-week cycle. And there's rewards for doing this. Okay, now let me show you. If I sponsor Danielle as a brand partner, I get 4 points. I help Danielle get her first Club 1 in her first cycle, I get 5 points. Okay, I help her get the second cycle and the third cycle, I get more points. In that process, I now am helping her build to Director 300. We're going along the path together. I've come down off the mountain. I'm holding Danielle's hand. I'm saying, hey, let me show you the path. I'm taking you the path to the first lookout point. We call it D300. You're going to love the view. Okay? And I'm taking Danielle by the hand and I'm helping her really solidify now D300. And you can see, you can actually, from sponsorship to solid D300, you can earn 30 points in the Club 1 program. Okay? Now, in your first cycle, now by the way, isn't that all good business building behavior? The best description of a compensation plan is this: a compensation plan should reward good business building behavior. It should not reward bad business building behavior. It should reward good business building behavior. Haven't I just laid out literally the good business building behavior of building a network marketing business? Which, if you want to think about it, is coming down, taking your new person by the hand and showing them the path that you just walked yourself up to that first ledge, Director 300. That's what this is all about. And this is what you want. You want to get your black belt in mastering this, because this is the engine that drives everything. Okay? So what do you get for Club 1? You get a $50 bonus. So if your first cycle is going to start, and by the way, you're all invited into the first cycle. The company's going to grandfather you all into the first cycle. So January 24th, you're going to get a 50, if you finish that first 4-week cycle and you get 8 points, you're going to get a $50 bonus. And you know your 20% fast start bonuses that you earn on your new brand partners? Guess what? That's going to be 30% in the next cycle. Okay? In your second cycle, if you finish a second Club 1 cycle, you get another 8 points. It's only enrolling two brand partners. You're going to get $75. A bonus, and again, that 30% is carried over. That 30% fast start's carried over into your third cycle. On your third cycle, if you finish that third cycle, you've now got 3 Club 1 cycles under your belt. You're going to earn a $100 bonus. So you can see the bonuses are $225 that are available if you complete those 3 cycles. Now we call the first 3 cycles of Club 1 from your enrollment your jump start cycles. There are only 3 jumpstart cycles, and they are your first 3 cycles from enrollment, okay? Or at least the first cycles from you're going to enroll, and then there's going to be your first cycle because they're on the company calendar, okay? So there's going to be a little bit of a gap between your enrollment and when the first cycle begins. But your activity is all going to feed into that first Club 1 cycle. And then you have a second Club 1 cycle and a third Club 1 cycle. So we're calling those first 3 cycles your jump start cycles. So there's only 3 of them ever in the history of your business. There's 3 jump start cycles, okay? And so this is helping people get to that first ledge in the compensation plan in their first 90 days. Now I'm going to show you why this is important, but first let's talk about Club 1. Club 1 Plus. If you finish a Club 1 Plus, you're an overachiever. Danielle will do it easily, easy peasy. She's going past this 8 points and she's going to 15 points, okay? She's going to get an additional $50. If she does it in the second cycle, she get another additional $50. And if she does it in the third cycle, she's going to get optimized team commissions for her 4th cycle. Remember that 5% safety net on the volume you're bringing to the table? They're going to double that to 10%, okay? And actually, if you continue to achieve Club 1, anytime you hit Club 1, you're entitled to those doubled team commissions for the following cycle. That's actually the one part of the jumpstart that actually carries forward through the rest of the program. Now, this looks all very overwhelming, and I'm not going to break it apart. Again, Linda and Frank in corporate did a fantastic job showing, okay, what happens in an example where I'm sponsoring, let's just say with the Basic Essentials bundle. I know Dr. David Silverman loves to build with the Deluxe bundle, okay? So going to be a little different, but in this example, we're just building with the Basic Essentials bundle. And you're sponsoring 2 brand partners and 1 subscription customer. That's the example we're using here, okay? It's more than you need for Club 1. Club 1, you only need 2 brand partners. 4 points, that's 8 points. You're Club 1, congratulations, okay? But in this example, we're using 2 brand partners and 1 subscription customer. And so you'll see the breakdown of your fast start bonuses, your customer bonuses, optimized team commissions, and that jumpstart cycle 1, okay? So I'm not going to go through it all, but by the time you get to month 3, you really should be a rock solid Director 300, and you've got that $300 bonus. Now, the path, the journey, the clarity, the story, the opportunity story, bringing the opportunity story up to match the product story, is I now have an opportunity story where I can say, hey, Danielle, I can show you how to make over $1,000 in your first 90 days in this business. And then from there, we can go on and show you how to make that $500 a month to $1,000 a month. But the most important thing is, how would you like to make $1,000 your very first 90 days? Now I have a strong story. Before, how many of you have asked, hey, how do I make $1,000 in ASEA? And you can come up with all these different permutations and combinations, but the story wasn't clear. Now the story is crystal clear. There's a path. It's signposted. There's big lights. You can't get lost. It's complete, the 3 jumpstart cycles. Club 1, jumpstart cycle 1. Club 1, jumpstart cycle 2. Club 1, jumpstart cycle 3. You do that and guess what? You'll hit it. So let me show you the earnings here. You're going to have 6 brand partners in this simple example, 3 customers. You'll have brought in 2,700 in volume in your first 90 days. And your total earnings in this example would be $1,131. Now, do you remember I said this is an investment into the compensation plan? This is more people making more money faster than ever before. Would anybody like to take a guess as to how much, if you did exactly the same activity today, sponsor 2 people, 2 brand partners and 1 associate, in month 1, month 2, month 3, we're calling them cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3. How much would you earn today? Okay, the answer on the current plan is $495. Let's put a line through that. Okay, $495. So has the company just given every brand new person a pay raise? Have they created a really clear, well-lit, signposted path to that first all-important core ranked ledge on the climb up the mountain? Absolutely. Guys, this is what zooming out is all about. Beginning to understand the context for Club One and for ASEA One and how it all beautifully fits together. Are you beginning to get it? Are you beginning to feel the rhythm of what we're going to do here? But we're going to focus on the inputs and we're going to let the outputs take care of themselves. Okay? So this is super important, guys. So when I say we're going to help more people make more money faster than ever before, that's a big win. And that's the reality of it. Okay? We're more than doubling the income that people can achieve with this simple activity over the first 90 days. And now we have a clear roadmap and we have a clear story. And again, I'm being repetitive, but I want this to go from the brain to the heart. We're bringing the opportunity story up to match the product story. Okay, we're becoming a 12 o'clock company. That's when we start driving this company to $500 million a year and ultimately $1 billion a year. Okay, so there are things beyond. Again, I don't want to get lost in the details. You know the websites to go to get all the details. But there are then rewards for Club One beyond the first 3 jumpstart cycles. Okay, and if you hit Club One, you're getting 35 Redox rewards. How cool is that? Every cycle you hit Club One, you get another 35 Redox rewards. That's like $35. Okay, your 10% referral codes, you're getting those renewed every time you hit a Club One for the next 90 days. Now, guys, right now, if you haven't got your 10% referral codes renewed, you can purchase it for $120. It's kind of what it's costing the company. So you can purchase it. You can purchase those codes to use for 90 days for $120. So that's $120 value there, plus your 35. That's $155 in value. Your reward points and your referral codes that you're getting for just hitting the Club One. Okay, there's also, the company's going to focus on this, guys. Again, this now becomes the anthem of ASEA. It becomes the rhythm of ASEA. It becomes the global cycle, the march that every single one of us are on. Okay, from brand new associate all the way up through the diamond ranks, everyone marching to the same beat, everybody singing the same song. And this is going to be a huge focus for recognition, drawings, prizes, all sorts of things in the future. Okay. And in Club One Plus, again, 35 reward points, the 10% renewal code, and you have this extra one where every time you hit the Club One Plus, you have the opportunity to earn 10% on the optimizer. Okay. Now, granted, that's only going to be more relevant at the beginning stages of your business, those early unilevel stages when you're just getting started, but still super, super important. And again, there will be recognition. There will be other things. Okay. Club One points become the currency, guys. They become the input. They're going to become very, very important in all aspects of ASEA. Okay. Grabbed a quick picture of Dr. David Silverman there. So let's talk about grandfathering. I can't talk. He's got better hair than me. So let's talk about grandfathering. Okay. This is important. Let's break this down. Okay. What's in it for me? Where am I right now? What's my next thing that I can achieve in the compensation plan? Every brand partner in ASEA who has not achieved Director 300 by January 24th, so you're a brand partner or maybe you're currently a director but you've never hit the rank of Director 300, you are eligible for the Director 300, the 300 bonus, when we start the clock in January 24th, okay? If you enrolled after September 6th, now in the grandfathering rules, September 6th is the line in the sand. And guys, I'm sorry if some of you fall on the wrong side of this line, but you have to have a line in the sand. You cannot grandfather every single Director 300 in the last 16 years into a program. You can't, as you're going to see, grandfather every single Director 700 into a program. You can't do it. You'd bankrupt the company. You'd destroy the compensation plan. Okay, grandfathering is very, very tricky because it puts an extra burden on the compensation plan. So you have to draw a line. And the line they decided to draw was September 6th, 2025. Why? Because that was right when we finished convention and we announced the Rise to One promo. And so we had the Rise to One promo, and then we also had our buy one, get one frees and buy two, get one frees, and that promo that ran through Black Friday. And so we realized that through that promotional period, maybe people spiked a rank here or there, and we don't want to punish them for that. So September 6th is the line in the sand. If you were a Director 300 before September 6th, you're not eligible for the Director 300 bonus. I'm sorry, that's the line in the sand, okay? If you achieved Director 300 after September 6th and did not earn the $300 bonus in the Rise to One promo, then you're still eligible for this bonus. However, let's be fair. If you hit Director 300 and you earned the $300 bonus in the Rise to One promo, you're not eligible for the Director 300 promo in the ASEA One compensation plan. Okay? I think that's very, very fair. Let's talk about EMP. If you achieved Director 700 after September 6th, you're eligible for the 700 EMP. But if you were a lifetime Director 700 before September 6th, I'm sorry, your next pool is Director 1200. You're not eligible for the 700 EMP. But if you went Director 700 after September 6th, you are eligible for the 700 EMP. Again, I know people, well, it's not fair. I just went Director 700 in August. I'm sorry, there has to be a line in the sand. Where do you put that line? There has to be a line in the sand. You cannot grandfather everybody into a compensation plan or it will literally sink the compensation plan. You have to understand the economics of this, okay? So the line in the sand was the Rise to One promo beginning September 6th. I think it's a very fair way to do it. So if you hit Director 700 after that, you're eligible for the 700 pool. If you are a lifetime 700, that's your highest rank you've ever achieved before September 6th. Guess what? We've got a new rank for you, Director 1200. It's not that far. Okay, bronze was a big distance. I always think that between 700 and bronze, it was almost like a chasm. And it was a big big leap. Imagine Evel Knievel trying to get over the Grand Canyon. You got to get up enough speed to go from Director 700, get over the canyon and get over to bronze and then silver and gold. And you know, some people can make that leap, but other people kind of got stuck and fell off the cliff. So we've created a bridge, and this bridge is called Director 1200. And it's a really psychoduological, it's a manageable build from 700 now to 1200. It's only another 500 points. And then from 1200 to bronze is only 800 points. It's no longer this big 1300 point leap, okay? And so if you are Director 700 before September 6th, you can now qualify for the new Director 1200 EMP pool. If your lifetime ranks are bronze to platinum, then you simply are eligible for the EMP pool that you haven't opened yet. So if you're a silver, but you never opened the bronze EMP pool, guess what? You're still entitled to the bronze EMP pool, okay? So the company has been really, really fair about this. And guess what, guys? Here's how fair they are. They want every single one of us literally resetting our business January 24th. They are inviting every single one of us to pretend that it's our very first day in ASEA and allowing us to experience those first 3 jumpstart cycles ourselves. So we can all make that $1,131 in that first 90 days, okay? We're going to have our referral codes all reset. All of us. We're getting brand new referral codes. And remember, if we hit the club once, we can then get them renewed and renewed and renewed, okay? Now this is super important because remember what I said at the very, very beginning. What we want to do is we want to walk the path up to that first ledge, Director 300. And because we've walked it, we can now, in pure authenticity and transparency, we can say to somebody, hey, I know the way. I know the path. I know what to do. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to take your hand because I know this path really well. I just walked it. Let's get you up to that first ledge. You're going to enjoy the view and you might want to go further. Okay? And so I think it's really cool that they're allowing all of us no matter how long we've been in the business, no matter how successful we've been, we all now have the opportunity to experience this beautiful Club One journey, these 3 jumpstart cycles at the beginning of the journey, okay? And we reset our codes as well. So it's literally, we don't lose our organizations, but it's literally like day one for every single one of us. How cool is that? And also, they're giving us this incredible promotion. It's running a long time. We've got about 2 months to run through this promotion where they are waiving the $40 enrollment fee. We recognize that there's going to be some customers that want to lock in that associate price point and not the slightly higher preferred customer price point. They're going to want to become preferred customers. By the way, just a little training on that, guys. I think sometimes we scare our potential brand partners by talking a big game, by talking about a business. I've been using this example recently. When AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile or whoever it is send you a little offer in the mail, say, hey, refer a friend and earn $25 off your next bill. Are you in business with AT&T? Hey, I'm in business with AT&T because I'm referring them some customers. No, we're using too grand language. And I think sometimes we scare our customers who love our products. And we scare them by saying, I want you to get in business with me. Would you like to become a brand partner and get into business? Guys, they're just making some casual referrals. In my mind, you're not building a business until you're building a network marketing distribution. Okay? Other than that, you're just recommending some products. You're just referring. You're just sharing. It's not, I don't consider it a business until you're actually building structure. You're building the distribution network. Okay? So I think sometimes we scare off our very devoted customers that love this product. And if they understood how simple it was to let their next door neighbor, their aunt, their uncle, their brother, sister, I mean, who wouldn't want to get their product paid for? I mean, you show me any company that's not doing some kind of referral program where somebody can get $25 back or 15% off or 10% off or refer 3 and yours is free or whatever. I mean, it's all over the place. And people love it. People gravitate towards it. And yet we talk about getting into business and we scare them off. Okay? So just be careful with your language as you're talking to the customers, as their opportunity that they have to get their product paid for with some simple referrals. Again, in my mind, you're only building a business when you're actually starting to build a distribution network of structure and leadership and systems. Okay, that's the way my mind works. Okay. Gone about 1 hour here because of my very late start. Sorry about all the technical challenges at the beginning. But here's the point of what I want to do. You've been drinking out of a fire hose for the last 5 days. And it's like you're just exhausted. Your head's spinning. Your heart's pounding. And I've said to you, yeah, but let's zoom out so we can zoom back in. There's a lot to take in, but we don't need to take it all in. What is really important between now and the 24th? What is really important for you to get your black belt in? Anyone that studied martial arts here, you know, even at black belt, you're still mastering the basic punches, the basic blocks, the basic kicks. Yeah, the fancy stuff is nice, but it's the basics. Any musicians here, you know it's the scales, it's the arpeggios, over and over and over again. Here's the basic stuff, guys. You focus on the ignite part of the compensation plan. You know, many of you are trying to figure out the check match. You've been here 3 years and you never even thought about the check match. Let it go. It's an output. It's a computer program that's written. Focus on the inputs, okay? So I do think you should have an understanding of the basic principles of the ignite portion of the compensation plan. How you get paid for customers, how you get paid for enrolling associates, the Director 300 bonus, and the basic, I can now earn 5% on all the volume I'm bringing to the table up to that 3,000 in personal group volume, the 5% optimizer. Those are the basics, okay? Club One, I'm fanatical about this. Lazaimi, our $1 million earner in Malaysia, he caught it. He said, that's where the magic is. That's the engine. That's what's going to drive the whole thing. That's the input that we can focus on. That's what we have control over. Club One, really focus on the 3 jumpstart cycles. That's that opportunity. That's the story that I'm talking about. That's bringing the opportunity story up to match the product story. That first $1,000 in your first 90 days. There'll only be the first 90 days, ever. And there's only ever going to be 3 jumpstart cycles in everybody's business. And we're getting to experience them, as I said, all over again. Okay? And that's what's going to take you to that $1,000 story. That's what's going to take you to that solid Director 300 rank. And remember, that first ledge, it builds the rest. The more people you bring to that first ledge, you continue your journey up the mountain. It's a very simple equation, guys. Okay? Grandfathering, I think it's important that you know where you are, where team members are, what's in it for them, what's the next, can they shoot for, can they aim? We're much more likely to hit a target if we can see a target. Okay, so what's the next target for me? Is it the Director 700 EMP? Can I hit that one? Can someone on my team be going for that? Is it the 300 bonus, etc., etc.? Okay, so I do think grandfathering is something you should focus on. I think we should focus on the brand partner promo. I think we should let the world know that we've got this amazing $40 wave. We've waived the $40 to become a brand partner. Okay, that's never been done as far as I can remember in the history of ASEA. Okay. There's one more thing. And I want to finish with this. And we can provide you the greatest opportunity in the history of network marketing. But if you're not the right person in your mindset, in your beliefs, if you're not the right person stepping into that opportunity, you're not going to achieve your potential. You're just not. Mindset is everything.